Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing something very different. I've never filmed a type of video like this before, and that is I'm going to be picking out my April TBR with you guys. I am a heavy mood reader and I'm currently in school, so for the majority I end up reading like 4 to 6 books every single month, sometimes less, most of the time not more. I have a lot of good books that I'm in the middle of. I am in the middle of 3, which I'll talk to you guys at the end of the video after I pick all of them, and then I'll kind of talk to you guys about them. A lot of these I probably will be using the audiobook at some point in time because this is the last month and a half of school that I have left, so it's a lot of tests and stuff that are coming up these next couple of weeks, so using an audiobook to listen to and from school, little tasks and cleaning and stuff like that around the house. So I've definitely been using the audiobooks as an advantage to be able to still read while I'm in school as well. I think we're just gonna start by going through the shelves. I'm not really gonna go through the first 2. Actually, I guess I'll just show you guys like I said I was going to. Actually, I don't know if this tripod is going to be tall enough. It's not, so we're just gonna point. I've read almost all of these books on this shelf except for Court of Silver Flames. I honestly don't plan on reading that anytime soon. For Crescent City, I honestly think I'm just gonna end up getting rid of the books because I got the first one 5 years ago and I started it. So there's annotations in it. My Throne of Glass shelf is over there, but I will talk to you guys through this one. Sorry, we're already off to a rough start. I'm so sorry. I don't have a tall enough tripod for this shelf. I have read all of these books on here except for the second 2 books in the Poppy War series. That isn't something that I want to commit to right now. I'm counting these next 2 shelves as the same thing because they are from the same author. They're all the Shadowhunter Chronicles. I am in the middle of my reread of the Infernal Devices. I did put this back here so I could grab it off the shelf. I just finished my 3rd reread of Clockwork Angel and I adored it. I loved it so much. I just saw Katie's reading. She started rereading this series and that just made me want to jump into it, and so I ended up rereading this in the past week, and these characters mean so much to me, and I will talk to you guys a little bit about all the books at the end of the video. Like I said, that would have been my 3rd time reading it. I have not put myself through the pain that is these 2 books, mainly this one. I think I'm gonna do it though. So actually, I'm gonna grab Clockwork Princess off of this shelf as well because I do plan to read both of these books this month. Going on to the next shelf here, we have Fourth Wing, which I still have these 2. I DNF'd Iron Flame. I might get back to it. Probably not though because I was so bored. I do have Wild Reference. I've been wanting to read this book for a really long time, but I want to read Wild Reference and The Divine Rivals duology all at the same time, so I don't plan on getting to that this month. I have When the Moon Hatched, Alchemy of Secrets. I did try reading The Everlasting by Alexi Harrow. I've read like the first like 20, actually my bookmark's still in here. I made it to page 30, chapter 3, and it is first off stunning. The premise of this book is really interesting, but it was also really slow and I just wasn't in the mood for it when I picked it up, and I was kind of in the middle of a book slump, so I do want to read this. I want to give it another shot in a time that I actually really want to pick it up. And then we have The Serpent and the Wings of Night. All I have left is the Ashes and the Star-Cursed King. I am going to end up reading that at some point. I'm not going to read anything past that though. But I do care enough because I actually really like The Serpent and the Wings of Night. I read it super fast. I think it was just right book, right time. But I do want to get around to the second one. I just don't really know when. Going down, I don't know if I should like squat down or how I'm supposed to go about showing you guys the shelf, but we're kind of gonna bend over here. So this is a continuation of my fantasy shelf. Throne of the Fallen is a book that I might end up getting rid of. I don't know. I have Alchemized the Devils. I want to read this book so badly because it sounds so interesting. I don't know if I want to wait till spooky time or not. Gotta be in the mood for it. I know that's probably something I'm gonna say a lot, but I really mean that I say I am a mood reader. Spark of the Everflame. Should I get rid of this? I don't know. We have Nevernight. This is the second book from Blood and Ash series. We have A Dark Shade of Magic. This is also a series that I've been wanting to read for a long time, but I'm trying to continue or finish series that I'm in the middle of before starting anymore. I do want to get to this year. I'm pretty sure this is on my yearly TBR and I know I'm gonna love it. And then we have the First Law trilogy by Joe Abercrombie here as well, which I'll get to that eventually. Into this shelf, this is just like a special edition shelf. Blood Over Brighthaven, one of my favorite books of last year. Full Urge to Fall for Your Enemy. I just love the cover and I think it was absolutely gorgeous. I actually do need to read that book, but not this month. Is that a bug? What is that? It's like dirt. I don't know what that was, so we're just gonna put everything back and pretend that that was nothing. This next shelf here, I've actually pretty much read almost all of these except for the Caraval trilogy and the Stolen Heir. I've been meaning to read this book for so long, and I know once I get into it I'm gonna like fly through. The font is so big and it's not gonna take me long at all. So then second, let me just move my little Lego characters. I'm in the middle of building Spider-Man Daily Bugle, and these are all the Lego figs and they're just so cute. Oh, I killed the Punisher, I'm sorry. So I've just been kind of sitting in there because I've been building the Lego on my bed. The second book in the, I don't exactly remember what this is called. I think it's just like the second part of the Shatter Me series. The next book comes out next Tuesday. I don't know if I want to reread Watch Me or not, because I love this book. I got it from the library. It's around like 350 pages and I probably read that book within 4 to 5 hours, which never happens, but it was so fast-paced. I loved the characters so much, so I'm really excited to see what happens in the next book. I really want to reread it though, because the audiobook is only about like 8 hours long, and on 2x speed that's only like 4 hours. I'll be able to knock this out in a couple days, just honestly driving to and from school or going on walks throughout the week. We're gonna reread this month. Now we have come to sit on the floor. The last bit of adult fantasy that I have. I also don't think there are any books on here that I want to read. I'm not gonna lie, a lot of these books on this shelf I haven't read. I guess it would be easier to tell you guys the books that I have read, which, oh my god, if I not read any of them, oh that's embarrassing. The only book that I have read on here is Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. Love this book. So this is an interesting and kind of strange read, but it was really fun. Ones that I have been meaning to read, obviously The Will of the Many. I've been wanting to get into Jade City. I've heard amazing things of The Second Death of Locke. I think this is gonna be something I'm really going to enjoy. Immortal Dark, this is like a vampire fantasy book, which I mean, vampire and fantasy. Well, is it fantasy? I don't know. I know it has something to do with vampires and that intrigues me enough. And then we have Heavenly Bodies. I've been meaning to read this for a while too. Just a fun romantasy read. I would put this on here, but I do have a couple other ideas of books that I want to read, so maybe next month. And I do need to get to The Sword of Kaiken because of how much I loved Blood Over Brighthaven. I have a feeling that I'm really gonna like this story as well. It's just really long. I mean, it's not terribly long. It's just over 600 pages. So let's move to the next shelf. The next shelf that I have here is my Leigh Bardugo and this random extra copy of Once Upon a Broken Heart that I have. I've read all of these books except Ninth House, which I've been wanting to read this for so long, but I do think I kind of want to wait till August, September. This book. I read Six of Crows 5 years ago. I've reread this 3 times, meaning to jump into this. I'm scared, and I love these characters and this story so much, and I kind of know something that happens at the end of this book, and I honestly just don't want to read about it, so I've been putting it off as long as possible. I do just want to read it because I want to complete the series, and how this one ends is exactly how this one picks up. I know I'm gonna love it. I just also know that I'm gonna be heartbroken, so we're just gonna put that back and then come back to it at a later date. I fear so far we haven't been doing the best at picking out books that I want to read, but they are coming up. I do need to get around to reading Sunrise and the Reaping. I know I plan to read it more towards when the movie is gonna come out. Am I ever gonna finish Powerless? I'm not sure. I do need to continue on the Belladonna series. Another book question: should I keep this? Should I read it or should I get rid of it? I also need to read All This Twist of Glory. This is the 3rd book in the Woven Kingdom series by Tahereh Mafi as well. We are not going to be choosing any of these books either, unfortunately. We're getting down to the last couple shelves. I only have books that I want to read here because I read the Red Rising book early last month and I didn't love it. I liked it, but I've heard nothing but great things about the rest of the series, so I do want to read Golden Sun and Morning Star, which would knock out the first official trilogy of the series. These both are going to be going on my TBR for this month as well. That is honestly kind of it for this shelf. I would love to read the next book in the Veronica Speedwell series. I don't currently have it. Oh, A Dangerous Collaboration. I think that's the next one. I want to get around to that one sometime soon. So I'm not going to talk much about this. It's just my classic shelf. I do have a couple books in here that I really want to read sometime soon. I would love to read Jane Eyre and Picture Dorian Gray. And then I really want to get around to reading The Handmaid's Tale. I do need to get around to Fahrenheit 451. And I would love to read Pride and Prejudice. I have not read Pride and Prejudice yet, and I feel like that is just a crime at this point. On to this. I'm just going to do these two shelves at the same time, which I do have to bring you guys down just a little bit, but they're pretty much just my two romance books. I don't read romance books a lot anymore. A lot of these books I have already read, or books that I honestly don't plan on reading anymore. But a couple of the ones that I do want to read, I would love to read and continue the Abby Jimenez series. I forget exactly what the series is called, but the next one I have is Yours Truly, and then Just for the Summer. I would also love to read If It Makes You Happy, a late 90s small town romance book, which I think is going to be perfect in the fall. Other than that, surprisingly or not, I've read all of these. And then we have my Addicted / Callaway Sister series. I do need to read Thrive. That is the next book in the series, but thinking of going back to that series and with these characters just breaks my heart because I love them so much, and I know that book is just a lot of pain, and I don't want to read that right now. Alrighty, so as for this shelf, again, I've read almost all of these. I do really want to get into the Holton series. I do want to read From Look Off with Love. That is a book that I don't want to read until later in the year though. And honestly, that is it. I need to read Wild Eyes. That is the only other Elsie Silver book that I currently own that I haven't read. And then also, I've heard not great things about this book. You guys think I should just get rid of it? I kind of just want to. I don't know. I heard the next one in the series was good that just came out. But like, do I need to read this before I read that one? Let me know. We're kind of just gonna skip over this next shelf because it's kind of just a random shelf of a couple books that I don't know if I should get rid of or not. My Harry Potter books, and then I do really want to read Atmosphere at some point because I love all of the other Taylor Jenkins Reid's books that I've read thus far. Going to my last little shelf here, we have some Twilight books in the corner, some more classics books that didn't fit on that shelf, but I'm really gonna look at my Marvel and DC trade paperbacks because there's two of these that I really want to get to this month. First one is the All New Wolverine. This is the first 3 volumes of Laura X-23's story. I do have number 4 as well. I want to start the Absolute Batman series. I do want to get Absolute Wonder Woman too, but I'm gonna start with Absolute Batman to see if I like it because this is essentially just like, you know, Batman, and think of him as the complete opposite. So these I definitely want to get to. And I also want to get to Supergirl. This is what the Supergirl movie is going to be based off of. We're adding these to the TBR. So I did move closer to my window for the better lighting. I did tell you guys that I have 2 books that I didn't pick up off of the shelf because I'm in the middle of them. So we're going to start with the behemoth of a book that I have here, which is The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. So I'm actually about almost halfway through with this book. I have sort of fallen out of it. I need to get back into it, and I know once I start it, I'll be back into the story, but I planned on reading this entire thing during my spring break, which was over 2 weeks ago. I did read 455 pages is what I ended up reading during that almost 10-day period. Why I fell out of it is because we follow 4 main characters. One of them I do not enjoy reading at all. In that part that I was in, we were getting their point of view like every other chapter, and it was starting to just get really boring and it dragged a little bit. I know the rest of the book is going to be absolutely crazy. That's what I'm saying, is once I jump back into it, I'm gonna love it because I have loved so much of it up until those chapters. What this book is about is there is this huge war that is taking place between the Alethi and the Parshendi. Most, if not all, of the characters that we follow are Alethi, and it is divided up into 4 point of views throughout 4 parts of the story. And the first main character, Kaladin, who is my favorite character so far, honestly by a lot. Under some unfortunate events, he gets placed into this bridge crew. So within this war that's taking place, there's this huge battleground, and to be able to move these soldiers forward or bring wealthier people across, there are these bridge crews, which I forget exactly how many there are. There's actually quite a lot of them, and then each one has about 20 to 30 men. They have to carry these huge heavy pieces of wood or bridges on their backs and have to run across the battlefield to carry these bridges for these wealthy people to get across. If you're a part of this bridge crew, you pretty much have your life signed away because people are dying left and right. There are arrows being shot at from the Parshendi at them. Also, Kaladin has this friend called Syl. I love Syl so much. She is such an interesting character. When we meet Syl at the beginning of the story, she does not remember anything about who she is, her past, where she came from. She honestly doesn't even know meanings of words, and throughout the story so far, we see her as she kind of just gets the memories, I want to say gets the memories back, but she starts to remember certain things. That's been really interesting to learn about as well. She's also been helping Kaladin because he has a lot of hope. He has been put through a lot. He grew up as a surgeon and then he ended up becoming sort of a soldier. Now he is in this bridge crew, and it's just, his life has gone downhill and he is going through it, but he also has this hope in him to keep going, to heal these people, because like I said, he is a surgeon, so he doesn't like to see people die when there's a chance for them to be saved. And so that's pretty much what has been happening with Kaladin so far. Our next point of view is Shallan. We haven't gotten a lot about her, and she is a scholar, or wants to be a scholar. She wants to get into this academy to essentially kind of save her family's reputation and history, because there is a certain object that she wants to steal from a certain someone. So that's pretty much her main goal throughout this book, I'm pretty sure. The next part that I'm about to start is solely just Kaladin Shallan, and that's what I'm saying, that once I started, I think I'm going to be absolutely hooked. The next character that we follow is Dalinar, which is the other point of view, Adelin's father. Dalinar is the assistant to the king. He honestly kind of is the king. He says a lot of things and helps the king along. There is this thing that happens to the king that both Dalinar and his son Adalin have been trying to figure out how this happened. That is pretty much the only thing that has been talked about going on throughout their chapters, except Dalinar has some interesting things happening to him. He is getting these visions. The people around him think he's going mad. His son thinks he's going mad, but these visions are trying to tell him something. We did actually get to read one of the visions, and it's really interesting. I'm not gonna lie, and I cannot wait to see if that's going to be something that's going to happen throughout the entirety of the 5-book series, or it's just going to be like this book and the next book. Like, I don't know how big of a plot point it's going to be, but that's really it. Again, Adalin, he's kind of just there. I don't really see a whole lot of what he brings to the story compared to Dalinar. But the next book that I haven't talked to you guys about yet is a book that I just got on my Kindle. I've been binging Heather's reading vlogs. She was reading this series in this book called the Black Winter series by Darcy Coates, and the first one is Voices in the Snow, and it is post-apocalyptic Last of Us, Walking Dead, zombies type story. That alone intrigued me right off the bat, and I'm actually in the middle of replaying The Last of Us 2, which is like the perfect timing to be starting this book. I ended up starting it last night and I had a headache. I did not feel good, but I read like 30 pages before I went to bed. I had to put the book away. I would have kept reading. That's how good and invested I am already in the story, how gripping it is. Follow our main character, Claire. So she's on her way to this person's house. She lives in this farmhouse in the middle of nowhere by this forest. While she's driving to this person's house, she's also on the phone with her sister, and the phone is like breaking up really bad, and they eventually just lose connection. And the reason why she's going to this person's house is because she heard on the news that some sort of I don't know exactly if she knows that there's been this outbreak, but there's this huge thing that's going around, and she's like, okay, well, my grandma, or I don't know why, I can't remember, has this like basement, I think, so she's going there to stay safe. And while she's driving, something happens, and then the chapter ends. We go to the next chapter and we get introduced to this new character, which Heather said in one of her videos that there's like a tiny bit of romance. I don't know if this character is going to be the love interest, or honestly what their purpose is. Maybe just to be like a really creepy person. I'm intrigued to see what is going on with this other character. If they're going to be good, if this is going to be somebody who we can't trust. I'm really excited because I do plan to make some more progress in that tonight. Let's quickly go over the other books. I literally have a stack of books here. I'm just gonna quickly go over the Infernal Devices because you guys have probably already heard about them before. The Infernal Devices is the series that takes place before any of the other books in the Shadowhunters Chronicles, and this is the series that essentially started it all when it comes to timeline order, but the Mortal Instruments did come first. And so we are following our main character, Tessa. And she's from America, and she gets this note from her brother to come to London. So when she gets there, she meets these two very interesting women, and they say, come with us, you know, your brother couldn't make it, so we're gonna take you to him. So she goes with them, and she ends up getting kidnapped, and as you can kind of see, she ends up getting saved by these shadow hunters, which shadow hunters are pretty much demon hunters. In this world, there are these things called downworlders, which are supernatural beings. So there's werewolves and vampires and fairies and witches and warlocks. She ends up falling into this shadow hunter family with all these different people, and this is a love triangle between her and the two other main characters, which are Jem and Will. There is this overarching plot of the story as well between Tessa and the people that kidnapped her, who want her for something. She may or not have something magical to do with her. I'm not gonna tell you. I recommend reading it. I love the series. This is one of the first series that got me into reading, besides like the Hunger Games selection, Percy Jackson. These two are the most heartbreaking, well, this one is the most heartbreaking one. Something that I love about Cassandra Clare and this whole entire universe that she has created is she has a way, not just with words, but with characters. The plots are good. I don't really go towards these series for the plot. I go for them for the characters. She just has a way with writing characters, writing relationships, writing both an actual like romantic relationship and platonic friendships. It's so beautiful how she can write these characters, but it's also so heartbreaking what she puts them through. The next series that I have on here is the last two books in the Red Rising trilogy. So in this series, the class system is based off of colors. Our main character is a red, which is the lowest of the low, and the highest is a gold. And something happens to somebody in his life. He ends up learning a lot of stuff that he did not know, essentially stuff that people have been lying to him about, and in order to kind of not really take revenge, but pretty much bring the system of golds and the higher power of people down, because they have just been lying to everybody about what has been going on just to sweep them under the rug. He ends up disguising himself as a gold, gets into this academy, meets these very interesting group of people, and goes through these different almost trial-like missions, sort of. It was very not what I was expecting. I will say, the end of the book really had me hooked and made me want to keep reading. Really want to read these this month. And then this is a book that I don't know if I will get to. If I don't get to it, it's fine. I plan to reread this before the next one comes out on Tuesday. That is also a book that I'm adding to this TBR as well. But I would like to, because it's honestly not a long book at all. I mean, look at the words. Look at the font. I mean, come on. Just following two new characters after about, I don't know, 5-10 years from the events of the Shadowmere series, and we get to see new characters, we get to see familiar faces, and it really is just a great time. We also have this new kind of villain group of people who are trying to take some of these people down, and honestly, it's kind of worrisome. This edition is absolutely gorgeous. The last two are not full-length novels, which is nice. We have 2 trade paperbacks. I also kind of gave you the plot of them earlier. So we have Absolute Batman, which is Batman, but think of him as the complete opposite. So it's a very dark and gritty version of Batman. I do want to read a lot more of the Absolute series. One of them I really want to read is Wonder Woman, but I want to read this first to see if I even like the dark and gritty version of this character, because it's just gonna be something that I've never seen before. Oh, they also have a Superman one, which that I honestly think might be even more strange, because how good of a person Clark Kent and Superman are, that's gonna be weird. I don't know, that I feel like that might make me uncomfortable. And then the last one we have here is All New Wolverine. This is the first 3 volumes. This is like half the story. I've heard nothing but great things. I love Wolverine, but I also love X-23, which is a clone of Wolverine. This is a lot of books. This is a huge stack of books. Oh god, I'm gonna drop my Kindle. So here's the stack. Am I actually gonna get to all of these? Probably not. I'm not gonna lie. I'm sorry if that was like really long. I've never done one of these types of videos before, so I probably went a lot longer than I needed to. I hope you guys enjoyed. I cannot wait for this reading month. I hope you guys have a great reading month as well, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, morning, night, wherever you are in the world, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.